This podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game.
Between the time when gamers played with miniatures and chainmail and the rise of the Wizards of the Coast, there was an age of advanced role-playing undreamed of. And onto the Skygax, destined to bear the jeweled crown of TSR upon a troubled brow, it was given to teach us all how to roll for initiative.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, issue 161. We're back for another live episode. We're on Hangouts this week, and we're sitting in. And you can see our ugly mugs and make fun of us and ask questions. We'll be doing this every 2 weeks as we do a show. You can tune in and listen in and chat away with us and ask questions. We have our Q&A app up, so you can ask a question. We can answer your question live as you ask them out right now.
It's scary.
Yeah, I know. And so we had a little technical difficulties getting this together as our producer / editor / audio person couldn't get in. So
yes, not to mention that my webcam technology is circa 1999.
Wow.
And that's bad how?
Matt is using TNA technology to get things done.
Yes, and not to mention that there was an unfortunate accident involving my normal condenser mic. It decided to take a bump from a high distance and is now adds a vacuum filter to any sound. So it sounds like you're in a room with a vacuum cleaner.
Awesome.
That or you're working the street sweeper for the day. Who knows?
Right. On location.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or maybe I was actually in the outpost.
Oh,
the outpost?
Yes.
So, Nick, didn't you have a little present there you were showing us before the show? Maybe you want to show the users out there? Give Joe Block a good cheap pop there?
Yeah, sure. 'Cause last Saturday was my birthday, March 7th. I'm 4 years old. And a little shout out to Joe here. I bought your damn book.
Pull it back.
Adventures Dark and Deep. Da-da-da-da. That's the bestiary, everybody. And here's the Game Master's Toolkit. And the Player's Manual. Right here. Okay?
They came out real nice. Huh.
I got them on recommendation also from my friend Jeff, who got them too. He got hardbounds like I did, and I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, Joe did a fantastic job doing his homework on getting this together. All the little nuggets of information that Gary Gygax put out, you know, what he wanted for, what he envisioned for a second edition of AD&D back before he left TSR in '85. So
left.
Yeah, well, put it nicely. You know, we all know the story. But yeah, there's all the stuff in there that Gary wanted, like for character classes like the Mystic, the Montebank, just for starters. The Assassin class is now optional in the appendix. There is no Monk class, but I would say Mystic is pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as, you know, the rules are more streamlined. There's lots of cool charts in there. So, and the bestiary is fantastic. And I think everybody would be pleasantly surprised that a lot of the monsters in there are actually the majority of them from the three original books, Monster Manual 2, Monster Manual, and Fiend Folio. I think most of them are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Mind Flayers under a different name, Beholders under a different name, but they're in there.
And where did you get the books from, print-wise?
I got them from Drive-Thru RPG.
So what's the quality like? The pages, they good?
Excellent quality. I would have to say It's the binding is very good. It's very rugged. I think the printing itself is crisp and clean. I didn't find any typos or any sort of irregularities. Everything was bound. It's very well done.
Even how's the page quality? Is it thin, too thin?
I would say page quality is very good.
Okay.
It feels, the paper feels like it is like your standard paper quality you'd find in your old original books. I mean, I'm not shy to say that. In fact, here we go. I'll show you a quick picture here. Like, this is out of the Game Master's Toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the charts, like on weapons type, sword type, pole arms. And you can see the charts there. Very well done. And the artwork is very good, too. There's some really good artwork in here. Here's a picture. It looks like a hill giant getting shot in the butt by a lightning bolt. Very reminiscent of Tramp there, I must say. But and that's just in the Game Master's Toolkit. There's, it was commissioned artwork. Here's a real good picture of a drow and some of the other subterranean races, Duger, and I think deep gnomes. But yeah, really, really good stuff. So yeah, and I like how the bestiary is broke down. The bestiary is broke down where like the first part's talks about wilderness and dungeon monster descriptions. Then you have underwater and waterborne, and then prehistoric monsters, and then your extraplanar monsters. Then that's how they're all broken down. He even put in a bestiary, he put in a one-page blurb on psionics, basically calling it the Psychic Strike. And it's an Appendix B in there. One page, it's all you need. So if you want psionics, there's one page in there. It's just some Psychic Strike. It's real easy. I love it. It's great. So
what were the prices?
Hats off to half off the Joe there.
What are the prices of the books right now?
Oh, you had to ask me that.
Oh, if you don't know, don't
prices
worry.
of the books. They had a deal going on at Drive-Thru RPG where if you bought the hardbound, you got the PDF for free. In fact, okay, here's my slip. I got the player's manual, and then this is hardback is $29.95.
Oh wow, okay.
The Game Master's Toolkit is $24.95, and the Bestiary is $44.95. So roughly for about $100, you're set. I mean, okay. And everything is compatible with like first and second edition AD&D. You can port over stuff real easy. So I'm really happy with it. So yeah, that was the deal that was going on, and I think the softbounds are about $10 less if you want to get that. But I like the hardbound books because that's how I roll.
Yep, and if you go back in our Wayback Machine to issue 68, we actually had Joe on the show where Vince sat down and talked to him about Adventures Dark and Deep and some of his thoughts behind it. So
yeah, that was when he was beta testing the whole thing. We're like, giving the free PDF copies to look it over, and I am really happy with Joe with what he did. And hopefully he gets more stuff coming along the way. So.
Definitely. So what's been going on, Nick? What's going on with your games? Well,
I'm going to be using Adventures Dark and Deep for my new Land of 1,000 Towers campaign. So I'm really excited about that. We're actually going to start that this coming weekend. We're going to do a half and half session. We do half mine, we're going to do a one-off maybe, see how everybody likes it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's something really different, because if kind of refresh everybody, Land of 1,000 Towers is the anomalous subsurface environment by Patrick Wetmore, and here's one of the books right here. That's levels 2 and 3, and I think I mentioned on the previous show that we did that Pat is going to have the third book out this year, so we'll have levels 4 and 5 out. So, sorry, I'm getting them all kind of together here. I got a stack of stuff, but yeah, it's a very gonzo game world. I mean, you got dwarves with shotguns and maybe laser guns, and it's if you like Jack Vance's Dying Earth series, Dark Tower series by Stephen King, Thundar the Barbarian, Herculoids. That's pretty much what it's all about. So if you like that sort of thing, I definitely recommend it. So he still has it on sale at Hulu, not Hulu, but Lulu for print, or you can go to his website, Henchman Abuse.
HenchmanAbuse.com?
Yeah, it is the actual web address is henchmanabuse.blogspot.com. He has the blog, and he's got a really he's got some really cool updates. If you've already bought the either the PDF or the print copies, you can. He has, I think, free for download there the maps and the handouts for those. So yeah, really cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it. So that's pretty much it on the gaming session, and also with the Star Wars thing I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
Did some heavy modifications to my YT 1300. I have now a ×1 hyperdrive on the thing. I'm almost as cool as the Millennium Falcon.
Almost.
Almost, but not quite. So, how about you, Vince? What's up on gaming for you, sir?
Absolutely nothing, as I've been mostly writing and focusing on an adventure I just actually put out with Mobius. Remember Brian Fitz from Mobius Adventures? We did that big...
Yes, yeah.
Him and I were working on a collaboration together. We put it out on Drive-Thru RPG called A Snake's Heart. Matt, I'll give you the link so you can throw it in the notes.
Okay.
It is a sword and wizardry white box adventure that can be, translated to any edition of OSR D&D. It's a Conan-esque type adventure.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. It's part of our Lost World adventure campaign setting that we're devising.
Which tells me there's, dinosaurs.
Possibly. Or Lost Age adventure, actually, I should say.
Okay.
Same
Very
thing.
cool.
Yeah. That's what we were mostly focusing on, and seeing what people think of that, so...
And that's at Drive-Thru RPG?
Or RPG Now, or Paizo Publishing.
Okay.
Any one of those normal places. You just type in A Snake's Heart, and it'll come up.
Cool.
Matt could probably do it right now as I see him doing something, so...
Yes, clackety on his computer.
Yes, and I'm also having to eyeball out the side. The kitten has invaded the studio.
Dun, dun.
And I have a paper shredder near the desk, and I'm just waiting for the kitten to jump on top of the paper shredder and start it up. She's done it before, so I'm just like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I must say the cat's going to end up in the paper shredder.
Fortunately, she's larger than the actual hole of the paper shredder, but still, it's not a good idea to have cats playing on top of paper shredders.
No.
Don't worry. On when I do a Brainstorm podcast, Eric's dog and cat both make appearances on the show, so...
Yes.
Yeah, I kicked the dog out earlier, so she won't be bugging me anymore.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, the way my house is laid out, my computer room studio doesn't actually have a door. So I don't have the natural animal barrier required. And I have a house with 3 cats.
Oh.
And that's a lot of hero clicks behind you, bro.
Yeah, that's a lot. And if we
that's
want
a lot of hero clicks.
And I haven't even bought any for the past year. So that's just my old collection.
Holy cow.
If we were to pan the rest of the room, you would see the shelf of RPG books, and then my one shelf of board games, and then if we went into my bedrooms, where my shelf of Avalon Hill stuff is.
So, no, we don't want to disturb the missus right now.
Yes, we're not doing RFI cribs, so I'll spare you the sickening event of moving the webcam around.
Gamer Man Cage. That's what we should do a show on.
Yeah, that'd be a good show. So what have you been up to gaming?
Video exclusive.
Gaming-wise, Matt, what have you been doing?
Absolutely nothing. It's just been a series of people out of town and just not able to get around for gaming. Tonight, though, after the show, we are joining up to play the Pathfinder card games. So
I heard that was fun.
Nice.
Cool.
And then we actually keep our characters from adventure to adventure, so we are leveling up our characters and the equipment and everything. So it's fun times when we can't quite get a full gaming session in.
Good times.
That's the adventure card game does that?
Yeah.
So it's
because you have your character and you build like an adventure deck list of your gear and you play through it. And then as you find more gear, you just replace out the old crappy gear with the new gear. And we just write down what cards are in our deck from adventure to adventure. And it also has like stats as you complete adventures that level up as well.
Wow.
So,
it's interesting.
It's a really good game. It's a little on the pricey side, like anything Paizo. But if you can get a good deal on it, it's definitely worth checking out.
That sounds like the old Warhammer Fantasy roleplay game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Warhammer Fantasy.
I haven't played that, but we
I got my book right down here too.
We played a lot of the 40K, the Dark Heresy, and the other of that recently. And
Heresy, called Heresy.
Yeah, and then we have. Also coming up in about 3 weeks is our annual weekend getaway where we rent a cabin out at a state park and just board game all weekend.
Oh, you got that big old gaming weekend coming up. Cool.
Yep. Got like a group of 7 of us going away and just board gaming 3 days straight. Well, unfortunately, I have to miss the first day because we have a big wrestling show on a Friday night at a concert venue in Cincinnati, so can't make it to that. And we got some like.
Can I make a shameless plug for a board game?
Sure,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Because not just because it's by Kenzerco, Great Space Race. If you don't have it already,
I've played that with Tim Kask.
Oh, you played it with Tim Kask? Okay. So
yeah, I played it with Jim and Tim at their local game store. It was good times.
Yeah, and for the hell of it, Cards Against Humanity, man.
Yeah, good times.
Cards Against Humanity is great.
Playing board games with Tim is amusing because he goes into editor mode. He was like, well, this should be changed. And he was like, they should hire me to help out. And, yeah, it's good times.
He's like,
when it's your turn,
an editor like me.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, that's about all in my gaming world.
Cool. All right, Nick, we have some stars, don't we?
Jawohl, mein Herr.
Mm-hmm.
We have some 5-star reviews from iTunes, and just to remind everybody, go to iTunes, go to the iTunes store, type in Roll for Initiative, and you can go to ratings and reviews and give us whatever star rating you feel like we deserve. 5 stars. But... Mr. Subliminal there, 5 stars. But anyway, got 2 reviews here. One from Sturla Snorson says, hands down the best for first edition AD&D, folks, and 5 stars. And it reads, I love this show. I wish Vince, Nick, and Matt would do a new show every day. I'd be out of a job. I'd be out of a job. But since they're kind enough to provide such a wealth of knowledge, ideas, and inspirations, and sheer entertainment at no cost, I must be grateful for the current production pace. I have tried other D&D themed podcasts, and I find Roll for Initiative to be the best one out there in terms of production, content, hosts, adherence to old school first AD&D spirit, or any other measure. Although I have heard these guys claim they are not experts.
We're not.
In fact, yeah, it's kind of like a disclaimer. In fact, they're some of the most knowledgeable and experienced 20 AD&D practitioners you'll ever come across. Listening to them has really helped me improve as a DM and inspired some great ideas for our family campaign. Very cool hearing about a family campaign like that.
Yeah.
The different personalities of Vince, Nick, and Matt complement each other perfectly. I always enjoy the good-natured debates, discourses, and conversations. If your AD&D roots go back to the early or mid-'80s, then this is the show for you. One of the things I like best about this show is that it usually sticks to a PG rating, so I can listen to it with my 10 and 12-year-old daughters, who are also fans that become voracious AD&D players. Double thumbs up here. Partially thanks to the podcast, Vince, Nick, and Matt have brought me and my family many hours of enjoyment, and I hope they never stop. Well, Sterla, we hope they never stop either.
Yes. And if you would like those daily podcasts, if you can get our Patreon enough, we can quit our day jobs. We will give you daily podcasts.
Wouldn't that be the dream?
Yes.
Yes.
We'll start one of those pledge drives anytime pretty soon. So
if you look right here on my screen, there's the link right there, patreon.com/WGP. And you can listen to shows. You can get early access to shows. You can get our special fly on the wall, which you can hear pre-recordings of the show, things like that. Special little add-ons here and there, depending on how much you feel like donating. Or if you just don't want to donate anything, the show is always free. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And probably special outtakes that aren't PG rated.
Maybe.
Yes, if only they got to take part in the pre-show today and my technology issues.
Oh, don't worry.
We're so lucky we have you as our producer, Matt.
I know.
Some folks will be privy to that.
Yes.
Technology no worky for me. Anyway, here's my second one from DM Kojo. Hey!
DM Kojo's never wrote a review for us?
Yeah. And he wrote third time is a charm? Question mark. With 5 stars. As someone who has been listening to this show nearly from the start, I have reviewed it 2 other times, but this show continues to evolve and change in new and interesting ways. Warning and an updated review. Okay. DM Kojo is always keeping us on our toes. This show renewed my passion for RPGs and got me back into role-playing in a big way. The current crew of hosts, Vince, Nick, Matt, and Chad, whenever we see him, has excellent chemistry. Each brings something valuable to the show. The most recent episode, 159, which reviewed the classic module L1, was one of the best ones yet. Oh, thanks, Kojo. Cool. I owned this module back in the day, but never gave it much consideration to run. Having heard their reviews, I busted the adventure out for the first time in 25 years and love it. I can't wait to incorporate it into my game. Keep up the great work. Me are always roll for first initiative, DM Kojo. Nice. So, yeah, that was a fun show to do. I have to admit, looking through that module again, at first, I think we even said in a review, I was kind of intimidated by first. I really couldn't figure it out. But you know what? There's some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah, once you break it down and look it over, it does seem like it can be run. I know, I was intimidated too. Definitely. Yeah,
but I think it's a really cool toolbox kind of adventure. Like I think it would say, it's really sandboxy if you like that sort of thing. So.
Right. I think it's fun looking back at some of these old modules because when you look at them in our younger days when we first started gaming, the way we viewed and what we wanted out of our modules was different. We kind of wanted more hand-holdy. We go here, we kill this, we get the stuff. Yeah. And I think as children, you can't really appreciate the nuance of the sandbox or the fact of you're just going to pull stuff out of all these different sources and make it something completely different. So having that fresh look on all these old modules, I think is good, and you could get some more enjoyment out of things that you passed off, except for historical. That hasn't aged well.
Oh, well.
So we can't even say that. We tried.
No. And that was a fun episode, too. That was like our MST3K episode there.
Yeah.
That was so fun. We kind of let off some steam. And
oh, boy, yeah.
Sometimes you need that.
Okay, cool. So go to iTunes, search us, leave us a review, 1 to 5 stars. If you give us less than 5, please let us know how we can get 5. And please do. Anyway, so let's head into some sage advice.
Sage advice.
This is Sage Advice, produced by me this episode, so, because Matt's not doing anything this week as producer.
I don't think we want him to do anything, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Technology hates me.
Yeah. rfistaff@gmail.com, 570-865-4210, the hotline for voicemails. Go to our site, rfipodcast.com. Just click on the Contact Us, and you can send us an email that way. Go on G+, and check that out. Go to G+, plus Wild Games Productions to catch our live shows every 2 weeks via Hangouts if you'd like, or you can always listen to the audio cast, which is fine. Either or. Okay,
we're all over the place.
We're all over the place, yes. We're on Facebook, but I don't really go on Facebook that much anymore. Matt's probably more of anybody on Facebook for us.
Yeah.
So we have...
Yeah, whereas I'm not like the G plus guy. You're the G plus guy, I'm the Facebook guy.
Yeah. And Twitter is just there for announcements, which is, I don't even know, RFI staff, yeah. I think, RFI podcast, I don't know.
I think it's RFI podcast, because I think our WordPress is set up to auto-update it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't have a Twitter account. I don't tweet.
Good thing you didn't say the other word. Anyway. The one that Stephen Colbert always likes to say.
Keep it a PG.
Yeah, exactly. For whoever said that, was that Snurla or something like that? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
JV West wrote in and said that he enjoyed our Secret Bonehill episode, so that's another person giving us props for that.
Huzzah!
Hey, yeah. And he's considering adopting it for the DCC game, so all the additional information we provided was very helpful.
Oh.
There was one part where we questioned where that table was based on levels, what rumors the NPCs would know. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was saying that it's meant for the levels are meant for NPCs. The module text states that only a character with the level will know any rumor at all, and the chart shows you the chance per level of knowing them. The PCs have to mingle and talk with the locals in order to reveal those stories and rumors.
Okay.
It seems that level 9 NPCs have a lower chance of knowing rumors than the 7th or 8th level. Perhaps they've been away in the world too long and forgotten something. Okay. And then
I guess that could be a rationale behind it.
Yeah, and then he asked if we should do an episode on the Ghost Tower of Inverness, but we did.
Yes.
Yeah, but what show was that?
That was issue, as we go, 94.
Okay.
Way back in 94.
Issue 94, not 1994.
Right. Back in 2012.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And he also, he did write another email in, but I'm just going to include it into the one email here, talking about our Labyrinth Lord AEC review episode, which he enjoyed. He said he ran his group through the LL, Labyrinth Lord, and the Advanced Companion, 1st through 5th level about.
Cool.
And he loves using the 1E. It tackles everything you want for a basic D&D Dungeon Master, keeping all the cool options, extra spells, magic items, and allows you to toss out things that clash with basic D&D. And he puts "I'm looking at you" weapon speed segment and psionics. So,
well put.
Yeah. And then we have one final email from Kevin Long talking about the death and taxes in B1 when he wrote in. Something, I don't really remember this, but I think it was, he said something about death and taxes. He said he clicked on that episode for that, but it played the episode we were talking about, B1.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to look into that.
Producer Matt will have to get on that.
Yeah, Producer Matt.
Okay.
Don't try to fix it now. You're having trouble with technology today, so.
Yeah, that would probably be a horrible idea. Yeah, I'll
probably
go
crash the internet for all we know.
Yeah, I'll update our website while on the show, and I can only imagine what happens at this point.
Brings down the whole backbone of the internet on the East Coast.
All right.
Next thing you know, you're getting a different Wild Games Productions podcast using the D10 for initiative.
Ew. Matt, I'm just going to drop you from this call. All right, so that ends your Sage Advice this week from the email bag. Well, we have more emails, but we'll get to them another time. But I want to get to our highlight of the night, which we're doing another review. We've been handed a really cool module. We'll get into that in table manners, but I just want to give you a quick look on the iPad mini here. Is that backwards? I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah, you got it up there.
I wasn't sure if it looks backwards on my screen, so...
It looks backwards on my screen, too.
I don't know. Maybe because it's on an iPad, mirroring on the thing, mirroring on the other thing. I have no idea. But that's what the cover is old school rules. Dungeon module YS1, The Outer Post of the Outer Ones by Jeremy Reben, I think his name is.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Reben. Or Raven.
So let's head into some table matters where we'll go through that.
This podcast is brought to you in part by a not very generous grant from Lesser Gnome, publisher of quality role-playing games since last year. Gnomes value high-minded programming just like you. Learn more at their website, www.lessergnome.com.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I like to find one with table manners.
What are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
All right. Here we are, table manners. We're going to talk about this old school rules adventure dungeon module YS1, The Outposts of the Outer Ones by Jeremy Reben. And I have to say, overall, this is a very cool module. Really different. Really different. And Jeremy, I guess, wrote this. It's going to be the first in a series of modules that are going to be based off the works of H.P. Lovecraft. And they're written for the use with, like, first edition AD&D. So this module takes, I think it's the story Whisper in the Darkness.
Yes, yeah, it does.
The Whisper in Darkness, which has... if I remember correctly from my readings, it's about
aliens.
About the aliens, the Mygo, which are the kind of crustacean-looking creatures that have like heads that look like brains, but they're not crustaceans. They're actually like an intelligent fungus from the planet Yugoth. And they've been coming to Earth for millions of years, and it has things like some guys. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's actually the ones with the wings.
Oh, the wings. Okay.
Yeah, that's the burrower.
That's the burrower. But the Mygo are the ones they have. They look like sort of like.
They look like
Watto crustaceans, sort of things.
Like
and they
this.
have like they're actually an intelligent fungus.
They look like
Here
this.
You
then.
go.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. They're rather freaky. So
looks like a joint with wings.
So there's a lot more science fiction in this thing. Not a whole lot of investigation or mystery, but it is a really cool dungeon crawl. This would be a really cool adventure if you want something, in my opinion, like if you remember Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that, but much, much smaller.
Yeah.
So there was the Mygo in this. They make an outpost on the planet of wherever your game world is, and they've explored around the area, and they've made contact with some people in the area, and that sort of ends up with people getting abducted by the Mygo, taken back to their lair, and their brains taken out of their bodies and put in cylinders. But eventually, like, some of these people are let go and everything, and kind of a cult is built up around the Mygo there. So you have, that's the
it's kind of a weird
basic premise, because you don't really know what the motivations are of these creatures. You hear some rumors within town, like the graveyard has been dug up and the bodies removed, but only the recent burials. A ranger has mentioned hearing strange buzzing sounds coming from the woods at night. That's a really cool little rumor, because in the original story, the Mygo, how they talk is either through like the colors of their heads changing various ways, or if they do speak vocally, it has a strange buzzing drone to it. So, another rumor is a group of creepy-looking men have been asking about strange occurrences in the wood and muttering something about a yellow sign. If you know your Lovecraft. Hope they don't mean the Golden Dryad. That's my favorite tavern. So, there's some other rumors in there. But and there's a small wandering monster table that he gives some of the MIGO in human disguise. And actually, this is kind of important. When the MIGO, if they don't go out in their natural form, what they have been doing in their lair is they genetically created basically meat suits for them to wear and go out looking like humans. So then you can encounter this weird looking cleaning robot. Also, there's a cyborg fighter called Neri Gajar that you might encounter. It's one of your random encounters. A MIGO commander, his bionic Sasquatch bodyguard. And there's a few others. Cena, and she's important later on. There's a group of individuals which are they're kind of mythos related, but they're worshippers of Hastur. Hence, they were talking about the yellow sign, what have you. If you're familiar with the Cthulhu mythos and Lovecraft, that they're opposed to the MIGO, and they're trying to root them out. And in fact, I believe he wrote this to where you can actually be part of this Hastur cult and try to take these MIGO out. But that's the wandering monsters, the wandering encounters you might have. So, and goes right into the dungeon environment. It's not very big. I think it's about 22 areas, 22 rooms.
Well, it's a night's adventure, so.
Yeah, you know what? That's why exactly. It's a good one-off. It's a good one-off adventure if you want to kind of introduce. I think this is a really good adventure if you want to introduce mythos, Cthulhu mythos elements into your campaign, but not. I don't know if it's just as a one-off. If your gaming group doesn't like it, then so be it. You just did the one game. Or this is really good, like for a game like the Gonzo Anomalous Subsurface Environment. It's in perfectly into that as well, because lasers and dwarves with shotguns and what have you. So it would fit in with a really cool over-the-top Gonzo campaign there too. So you go into the dungeon. You have the entrance area where everything. Just to let everybody know, everything is somehow either genetically or bionically enhanced. Like in the entrance area, there are 4 bionic bugbears. They have been bionically enhanced. So you run into those guys. There's a bionic griffin that you probably run into. This thing is really cool. This bionic griffin has 2 wing-mounted lasers that do 2 to 20 points of damage each. Special defenses. It has a chaff dispenser. If anybody knows anything about fighter aircraft, it says special defense chaff, which does nothing unless the party has radar-guided missiles. And in parentheses,
which they probably
don't. But I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
This entranceway, the next entranceway is pretty cool. The decontamination sphere.
Yes. Yeah, that could freak everybody out. Because they'll walk into that area and they have the decontaminating sphere, and they're probably thinking they're getting hit with something really nasty, so they're going to eventually attack this thing. So, but you just might, if you attack it, you might explode it.
Yeah, take 12 points of damage maximum. So.
Yeah. I also got the impression of this adventure. It's probably not for
Hack and slash.
I would say no. It is. Well, I would say yeah, it is. But I would think, as far as levels, probably 6th to 8th level characters. You know, it's not a low level adventure by any stretch of the imagination.
I think that's what he said.
Because you got like the next encounter is in the quarters for all the humanoids that are in there. And one of them is Zardron. He's a Mygo in human form, and he's an 8th level fighter. And he has a really cool weapon called a Star Sword. The Star Sword, it's a lightsaber. Yeah. It's a lightsaber. So
6 to 10 level, it says.
Oh, it does? Where did it say that?
First
right
paragraph.
at the very beginning? I must have missed that.
The adventure is meant for a party of 6th to 10th level characters.
Okay, that sounds about right. Okay.
It doesn't tell you how many, it just says a party of. So assume 4 at least.
Yeah, minimum 4, absolutely. Yeah. There's some other cool, not necessarily magic items, but there's some interesting technological items I'll talk about a little bit later, that, like the Star Sword, that you might give descriptions on. I can tell you, like, there's this thing called a biological jumpsuit. The bathroom area, there's a biological towel. We'll talk about that later.
There's like a lot of...
There's some other...
Sorry, I was just saying, there's a lot of... Seems like a lot of walking around looking and scratching your head at what these things are.
Yeah, that's why I love it. Because there's some of these... You're going to walk in a room and you're going, huh?
Yeah.
Like the observation room. In the center of this room is a small podium-like structure with depressions and grooves. The walls of the room are all view screens. In essence, the room works like a crystal ball. A creature places his hand or some sort of limb on top of the podium and simply visualizes what he wants to see. So that's kind of a head-scratching room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's also...
Yeah, just with all the random stuff in it, there's all the stuff that will have them head-scratching, but if they play with it, it's not like in some adventures where if you're too curious, you end up killing yourself.
But there is the potential of hurting yourself.
There is the potential, but it's not as bad as it could be. For a lot of times when adventures have that sort of curiosity standpoint, it's mostly there to see if the players are dumb enough to use it. This is more of, this is just how this is set up, and it's actually all useful for what the Mygos are trying to accomplish, as opposed to player traps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's some technological things, if you're not careful, and when you stumble upon that are part of the Mygo complex, they could hurt you if you're not careful what you're doing because they're new, but maybe not kill you outright. Well, wait, that's not entirely true. There is one area it could. Yeah. Then, there's the prison area. I love the prison area because this is the first adventure, ladies and gentlemen, that I've actually seen where there is a flump written into the adventure.
Yes.
And I have to give credit to our author here for actually incorporating a flump.
Flump. Because
there's a flump.
There he is, right there.
Folio. Oh, yeah.
Right there. There's flump. Right in the adventure.
There's flump. It's cool because they say in the description, the cell contains a strange floating ovoid creature with eyes on stalks and tentacles and spikes underneath. It is a flump, which completely baffles the Mygo. I love that. So, and then they have, there's a Swan May. Her name's Trelissy, and this has got the Mygo kind of perplexed as well. So she's captured there. There's also a Ghast.
Is that the kitten, Matt?
Yes, it is.
In the cell.
The kitten was staring at Nick.
Oh.
Yeah, it was actually nose to nose with you.
Oh, awesome. But there's a Ghast in there that they have kind of, I guess, I don't know, starving it or anything like that.
They said
the cell contains an emaciated gray humanoid as a Ghast. The Mygo are perplexed by its non-living undead nature, but familiar with the creatures they know as ghouls, which are similar but living creatures.
Yeah, so they probably captured it, and they're trying to figure out, what is this thing?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And
so,
some of the
and the flump.
yeah, in the flump. So in some of the empty cells too, if you wanted to, you could even throw in just more really oddball monsters you would never use anywhere else, just to because that's something they would be interested in. So all of the land of misfit monsters, you could just flesh them out in this module.
The land of yes, the flump fits in perfectly. We're the land of misfit monsters. The next room is a really cool one, the teaching machine. So basically there's a console and there's a strange helmet. You put this helmet on and you turn on the machinery, make make an intelligence check. If you fail, you take 3d6 damage and you pass out for about the same amount of time.
And
maybe lose a point of intelligence. But if you succeed, you learn something.
Well, it says possibly losing, so what's the possibility? Is it up to the DM, I assume, in this point?
If you fail your intelligence check.
Well, it says possibly losing a point. Doesn't mean you will lose a point.
If the damage was greater than his ability score, so.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay,
That's how So if the damage was more than your intelligence, then, yeah, you'll lose a point of intelligence.
Oh, that sucks.
But if you succeed in your intelligence check, there's various different things that you can learn. You can understand the MIGO language. You learn how to operate appliances in another room that's in there. User is taught new ways to think, and your intelligence is increased by 1. You understand what each medicine does in room number 11, and it goes on and on and on. Oh, here's a good one. I love this one. Number 8, user learns several cosmic mysteries, including the essence but not the source of the Hounds of Tyndalos, from whence Cthulhu first came. Lose 1 wisdom but can make an intelligence ability check recognize a Cthulhu mythos creature. Yeah, those are great. And the other ones learn how to dismiss Shub Niggurath or how to summon Shub Niggurath. I don't know if those are good things to know, especially the summoning one. Yeah. But he also recommends that whoever succeeds, they learn the first one, and then whoever learns later on, it'll be totally random. And you can add to the table if you want to.
Yeah, you can even roll D12 if you want to at this point, too.
Yeah, it's D12. Yeah. But you could expand out to 20 or more, use percentile dice. But there's some pretty cool stuff there in the learning room. Not necessarily going to kill you, but it could potentially hurt you.
Right, or kill you should you start summoning things.
Yeah, like Shub Niggurath, who comes by and, sucks the brain out of your head. Right. Or whatever.
Yes, if you do the random roll and that's the first thing they learn. They learn to summon him. They don't know what they're summoning, but they learn. Yeah. No, they can summon it.
Yes.
That would be bad.
That would be very bad. And knowing my group, that would be very, very bad. But so you have the mining room where there's these bionic burrowers. I think a burrower is a new monster in this one, right? Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly.
The burrower is actually a reskin of intellectual property. So it's a modification of an actual monster.
We could say that,
It actually says it in the module that it is.
Right.
So I'm not.
Is it a Zorn?
I'm not sure, actually.
Because it didn't look like one.
No.
Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I didn't think it was a Zorn. It doesn't look like one. But there's a garbage room with a bionic Otyugh. Who's one of his tentacles was bionically enhanced by replacing it with a chainsaw.
Groovy.
Yeah. So he comes out of the poop pit and comes out there like Jason Voorhees.
Actually, the burrow is listed as a new monster.
Yeah, I thought it was a new monster.
It's a new monster according to this module.
Yeah.
Where did I see that?
At first I thought it was a Zord too, but then I looked at the end of the adventure. I'm like, oh, it's a new monster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Let Matt Google foo it. Let's continue.
Yeah.
But then you have the brain storage room.
That was weird.
And this is where you find all the different cylinders. And there's several dials on the cylinders. It gives really good descriptions on how big they are, and what brains are in the cylinders. Like the dials, they either put the person back to sleep or they're fully awake. You set the dial in the middle. They're like in a hypnotic trance. Then you have a volume control and all that. Then there's the first cylinder has a Hyperborean sorcerer named Zirkrin. He's quite insane, having been kept in there for uncountable years. So you have basically some sorcerer from the world of Conan, the Barbarian.
Every time I read this room, I keep thinking of like the Futurama head room where they had all those little heads on the shelves and everything.
Yes. Expect to find Richard Nixon in his head in a jar.
Yes, I'm running for president again.
President of the Earth.
President of the Earth.
Raw. So you have that. There's another cylinder. There's a human from Earth. It could be anything from Harry Ackley, if you remember the original story this is based on, an 80s value girl, a Roman soldier, to a Dixonian orphan. So you're saying Oliver Twist's head is in a jar?
Mm-hmm.
The third cylinder has a brain from a being from a gas giant planet, extremely alien and incomprehensible to the party, even using magic. And then the fourth cylinder contains a brain of an elder thing. An alien race that sort of looks like a 6-limbed and winged 7-foot-tall eggplant. And there's another cylinder. The fifth one has a Mygo brain in it named Bzz. And they're growing him a dwarf body. So he's going to put his brain in a dwarf body. And the last cylinder is of an old woman by the name of Gwen. And that's part of the key of the adventure. One of the people that went missing is Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
And she keeps coming back and talking about, how these creatures are she's like kind of starting a cult around them. And if you talk to her, she demands you leave the Mygo alone, and they're just mining Mithril. They're not going to harm anybody. And she's promised a brand new body. So, okay.
Well, they don't seem like they really are harming people except for snatching bodies, but
right. I mean,
they even say at one point that they will leave people alone unless they get really nosy. So,
right. You know how murder hobos are. So,
with shotguns.
Yeah. I got the reference. Thank you. I've yet to see that movie.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer. Yeah.
Yeah, hobo with a shotgun. I gotta watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you got the surgery room. There's an operating table with several straps on it. There's saws and scalpels and pincers all around. And there's a console with dials, lights, and buttons. This is basically the room where they take the brains out of the people's bodies.
And they give you
also
bionics implants, pretty much.
Yes, you can do the bionic implants, and some of these aren't so great.
Kind of a strange thing that you're going to allow the players to do that. And I understand, maybe it'd be kind of cool, but I'm kind of confused on where he gets his minuses from on some of them. Why certain stats are get minused on some. I mean, I can understand when
the
you want to
bionic
get the
speed.
Yeah, I can understand the dermal plating you can get on your body. It improves your armor class and reduces your charisma. I could see that totally reducing your charisma. But reflexes, you can increase your bionic reflexes by something, but you also lose your wisdom either to 8 or by 3 points, whichever's lower. How does that work in a swap?
That almost feels, isn't it like in Shadowrun where if you have more cybernetics, it affects your ability to use magic?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So it's that. The more you go towards technology, the more you lose your natural human side, perhaps.
I was just thinking that. Maybe this is a reflection on your becoming less human.
So I guess he's equating that stat for Shadowrun versus wisdom in this game. Okay.
I could see that. But here's the little caveat to getting all these implants. Unbeknownst to the PCs, implanting themselves with Mygo Bionics will make them potentially susceptible to commands given by the Mygo. So, So they could be partially taken over, like if the Mygo tells them to go, like, I don't know, kill your friend. And you must obey for 1d6 rounds if you fail your saving throw versus magic.
Yeah, if they had the bionic hand, I could even see having the Mygos just controlling the hand, so it's like something out of Evil Dead at that point. At which point you need that chainsaw to cut it back off.
Yes. And then you have also in this room, there's a whole bunch of chemicals that are liquids of various types and cylinders around, and there's like auto injectors. And there's several pink vials, red, purple, whatever. But they do different things. Like the pink one heals Mygo, but if you're human or other mammals, you take 1 to 6 hit points of damage per dose. And the red one, it'll heal humans.
Mm-hmm.
And the purple one cures disease in Mygo, but does 1d8 points of damage per dose to humans. Green cures disease. Blue turns your skin blue permanently.
La la. Oh.
Yeah, you become a big old Smurf.
Mm-hmm.
Golden, it glows. This glows slightly and acts as a restoration spell.
Mm-hmm.
The orange one, you gain a random physical mutation. So if use compatible post-apocalyptic RPG for this. That's what it says in parentheses. So,
Gamma World.
If you want to whip out your Gamma World book, this is the time to do it. And then you have the yellow one where you could get a random mental mutation. And then you have the yellow-green one. It restores a human to life. If dead more than a day, though, intelligence is reduced by 1 and alignment is shifted to chaotic. Dead more than 2 days, intelligence reduced by 3, alignment is shifted to chaotic evil. How many of you are familiar with Reanimator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Herbert West Reanimator. That's the reanimation drug, the yellow-green right there. The longer you're dead, when you come back, the more insane you're going to be and evil. So that's the surgery room. Then you have the body storage area where there's various types of bodies that they're growing or they have in storage. Excuse me. That when they go out in their meat puppets. So they have the body of Gwen there. There's another body of a beautiful, athletic young blonde woman that they're going to use as a grown body that they're going to manipulate.
For Gwen, supposedly.
Yeah. It might be for Gwen.
It's suspected to be, yeah.
Yes. There's also the body of a Minotaur there.
Which I could totally see one of my players saying, ooh, can I have my brain stuck in there?
Yeah, exactly. And there's the real body of a Mygo there. Actually, 3 of them. 3 real bodies of Mygos there where the various ones that are in this area, what's their names? Sorry, excuse me. Zardron, Corlon, and Ahura are the 3 of the Mygo who are going around in the areas, searching for whatever they think is interesting. So they take they leave their Mygo bodies here, and they go out in their manufactured bodies of human beings. Which, when the party members do see them, their bodies look too perfect. They almost look artificial, So then there's the vat room where they actually grow the stuff. They grow the bodies. There's a couple bodies of male and female dwarves, male and female humans. There's a bizarre body. It looks like a large eggplant with wings and limbs. That's an elder thing. So this area is this could be a real Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm.
because it says in there all the cylinders are connected to a large machine, which is a slot to insert a brain cylinder. If one and a certain button is pressed, the machine extracts a DNA sample from the brain and constructs a new body for that brain based on that DNA in the first empty vat. So this could be an area where if the party members figure it out, they can make themselves literally immortal. You know?
Possibly.
Grow their, they're going to have like all their clones set up. So it'll be like almost like turning into the game Paranoia, where you have your 6 other clones sitting up there.
Can clone his very own Leonard Nimoy, like Sheldon wanted to do.
Yes. He wants to clone Leonard Nimoy. Today didn't,
Yeah.
Then we have the dining area. Nothing really interesting in there. You got a food storage preparation area.
Meh.
There is a section in there, though, because it's refrigerated, and some of the meat hanging there seem to be human, but these were corpses dug up in the graveyard used to feed the ghast. So then you have the really cool fungi forest, where you have 3 Mygo there that you'll run into with a bionic flail snail. Yeah. Another creature from the Fiend Folio.
The 60s room here. The 60s hippie room going on.
Yes, because like all the fungi are like giving off psychedelic colors, and if you're in the room for too long, the fungi in the room give off hallucinogenic gas. So for every 5 rounds there, 1 to 3 PCs must make a saving throw versus poison or suffer hallucinations for 1 to 3 rounds. And there's a really interesting list of hallucinations that you randomly roll for.
Yeah.
Individual believes he is in a swamp and strips off gear and armor to avoid sinking. Believes he's attacked by a swarm of spiders. Believes his items held are turned into vipers and the snakes. You believe you're suffocating. Believe you shrunk to 1/10 normal size, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So you can imagine where some of these things happen, and some people made their saving throw, and some others did not. You got someone there crawling all over me. Oh my god! And you're looking at them like, what's your problem? So this is a potentially dangerous room because you got the hallucinogenics, you got the Mygo, and the bionic flail snail. Because that bionic flail snail, the tentacles have been changed out for bionic tentacles. If you get hit by them, you get electric shock, which could stun you for 1 to 3 rounds. So I love that fungi forest. I think that's pretty cool. Then there's an incubation room for, I guess, for the I'm not really sure what is incubating in the room. I guess for when the bodies are grown, they put them in these containers, and they're grown out a little bit more to keep them warm.
It just has 3 square glass boxes of varying sizes against the wall of the room. It doesn't actually say what their purpose is or what the purpose of this room is.
Yeah, when I thought, okay, incubation room, maybe when the bodies are growing in the vats, they take them to the incubation room. They keep them warm, like an incubator for like an egg. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the chapel. Yes, the Mygo worship something. They worship Sub-Niggurath, a fertility goddess, if you're familiar with the Cthulhu mythos. And let's see if I can read a little bit on this. Where is it? There's a strange oblong device. Basically, it's the Mygo equivalent of an organ. It's got a whole bunch of keys on it, a few foot pedals, and it produces strange, eerie music. And if you have a bard in the party, he can maybe figure that out if you really want that to happen. Because he says, actually doing so is probably a bad idea. It has the power to summon mythos beings. Merely playing a note, just one note, summons a servitor of the outer gods. And that's not good. And it looks like an enormous deflated squeamish beach ball with 8 tentacles, a large mouth, and several smaller mouths. It awakens, it inflates, rises up, and grabs 2 flute-like instruments in its tentacles, putting it in smaller mouths, and beginning to play a tune suspiciously like Inagata Davida. I love that. That's so cool. I'm thinking, gosh, that would be really eerie to start playing that song as soon as this happens on your laptop with some speakers. They're going to be like, everybody's going to be looking at you like, what?
Yeah, right.
And then once it starts playing Inagata Davida on the flutes, the person playing the organ joins in.
Yes.
So you start your band.
Then you have the playing diddly diddly. Yes.
And as it's playing Inagata Davida, it's summoning more monsters.
Yeah. So, and you have a chance of summoning a avatar of Shub-Niggurath called Zuna. So, there's that room. Potentially very dangerous room there. So, and there's a playroom. I thought that was kind of weird. They have a playroom for the Mygo.
Yeah.
Okay. Like there's strange shaped objects of elastic material, somewhat like rubber or plastic. I don't know, Play-Doh. Here is but you go into this room, and I'll say it like Matt would. There's this little girl, 10 years old, blonde and blue-eyed, and very sweet-looking. In reality, she is the half-human offspring of Shub-Niggurath. Fathered by one of the Mygo human allies roughly 2 months ago. So she's an avatar of Shub-Niggurath. Yeah. So there's like another potential bad situation here because, you know, she'll be friendly to the party, but if she becomes angry, she will mutate into a form which has like thick skin, claws, and spikes along her spine. And I love the description here. It says her monstrous form looks vaguely like a human female, but one as drawn by Giger, if you're familiar with H.R. Giger, Alien, with chitinous armor and large spikes from her spine. So, yeah, really nasty. So, and there's another room, a gateway room, where there's some more Mygo in it. This is the gate. This is how the Mygo got to the game world. They created some extra planar gate, and they come from a dark planet between Mizar and Alcor systems at Ursa Major.
I could see like the whole Stargate like gate there, and like, you know, it opens up and they
yes, or have the gate from Star Trek.
Yeah,
you know, the Guardia of Forever.
Yeah, this is basically how the adventure can continue. If you want to wiping all the Mygo out, in the aftermath section on the next page, they talk about how they'll just keep coming, and finally, if you just keep destroying them, they'll just blow the whole thing up. So,
yeah.
Or maybe your players actually go through the portal.
Yes. Or you can turn it around and have the adventures, like it says, you can use it as a way to go to the Mygo world.
That would be kind of weird.
Yeah. There's some, and also you got a few more quarters for the Mygo that you'll run into where they're living, and you have the Mygo commander and his bionic Sasquatch. How many of you remember the $6 Million Man?
Me.
Yeah, the bionic Sasquatch. Yes, you got to make the sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
In this room, one of the, I guess, the treasures, there's looks like a metal suitcase, and and how you get into it, the combination is actually a color combination. It's basically like a bag of holding, but it's a suitcase in each area. There's like different areas you get into it. I'll have to read the description later.
Mm-hmm.
But it talks about the aftermath and further adventures, like you were talking about, Vince. How what happens with Cena if she gets out?
John Cena.
So,
as Matt's doing it, you can't see me in the back there.
She could, if Trelisi, that Swan May, if she survives, she can raise Cena to be a Swan May of sorts. She may, though, start a cult. Well, Corlon and Ahura, if they survive, they go out into the world and they'll start a cult dedicated to the Avatar Shub Niggurath Zuna. This says this might not be a bad thing, but the local religious establishment will not like it one bit. You think? And then you also have the one group that's opposed to him, the Keepers of the Yellow Sign, which I kind of alluded to earlier, which your party could, as a way of getting into this, could be a part of this cult, Keepers of the Yellow Sign. Or if not, they could be another group of NPCs you could run into that they have the same goal maybe in mind, but they are still opposed to you. I don't know if these are guys you really want to be allied with. So, but I really, overall, I like this module on the suggestions that he gives later on. Like, you can incorporate some other things from modern UFOlogy, like the stuff about the Greys or the Nordics, the Space Brothers, if you're familiar with all the ufology stuff out there. So that's pretty cool. So you can probably, I think, as far as visual wise, you can find stuff on the internet and you can incorporate that into this game, into this adventure. I think it'd be a real neat way of enhancing this adventure.
Yeah, so and the rest of the adventure has the new bestiary, has the new technology, explains all the new little weapons. And he actually went as far as putting the summon and the dismissal ceremony or incantations that he spoke about learning earlier.
Yep. How
long it would take, what you'd use to do it. So he actually went that far.
Yep.
And then he went for the brain cylinder occupation generator, so you can see.
Yes, I love that.
You could put inside, generate random things for the brain cells, because there could be more than just one. I'm just like that whole room in Futurama. You could do the whole thing there too.
Oh yeah, you got more cylinders. That'd be fantastic.
And then he describes a secret organization, Keepers of the Yellow Sign. Goes into some detail about that. And then we see the new monsters, and then we have the OGL, and then we have our nice little map for the players, I guess, because when they go in, they can get their own version of the map. I'm not sure. And then they have the key of the map as well, but can't really see it on this thing that well.
That might be like when you, I don't know, how would they get a map? That's the only thing I'm trying to figure out.
I guess when they first go in, and when that guy greets them, he hands them a map. I have no idea.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. I'm sorry.
Maybe as they're playing with the one item that works as a crystal ball somewhere, they can start visualizing room by room.
Oh, yeah, that room. Yeah, that room. It's like, oh, what's this? Point to it.
Right, what's this? What's this? And next thing you know, they have their own mall directory.
Yeah. And then Finally, he has his back cover where he has, be sure to check out his other modules, the Lost Shrine of...
Sirona?
Is that Sirona? It's hard to tell with the font.
My Sirona?
Sirona. And the Forsaken Burial Vault, and then he has a bunch of forthcoming modules. So he's a very busy guy.
Yeah. I like the sound of this one, the Forgotten Temple of Chaos.
Yeah.
I want that one.
So this adventure in Drive-Thru RPG is a pay-what-you-want module, so go ahead and download it for nothing and then read it over, and if you really like it, throw the author some change.
Yeah. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, throw a few bucks his way.
Yeah.
Overall, I like this adventure because, one, it's different than your run-of-the-mill dungeon crawl. Two, it's incorporating some of my favorite stuff, the Cthulhu mythos.
Mm-hmm.
And three, he's left it up to the dungeon master to incorporate into his game world as he sees fit. So this is a real easy plug-and-play adventure you can throw it anywhere. So,
yeah, it was like when I first was reading this, I'm like, I could see just running this in Gamma World too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This would be a great Gamma World one.
Yeah. This is one you could actually use in multiple different systems, and that's the nice thing about it. Because rule-wise and whatnot, since it's OGL, you can easily port it into just about any system. You could even tweak this a bit, and next thing you know, you're running it in Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Because it even has the magic and tech mix there. I mean, yeah, it's a fun little adventure that you could run in a night, and yeah, I'd definitely recommend checking it out and sending the few dollars the author's way as well.
I think this would be also a good one. A lot of people like to do one-shots for Halloween. This would be a good one for that, too.
Yeah.
All right, so... Yes?
Oh, I was going to say, I was just thinking, this is Expedition to the Bear Peak's little brother.
Yeah.
Maybe you could even link the two together.
Maybe.
I've been trying to think about that, I've been trying to think, how could you link those two modules together? Because they're about the same levels as far as the adventures, I think.
Right. Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah. If you did something where maybe the spaceship crashed because they were trying to travel through time and space to find the Mygodes for whatever reason, perhaps they're trying to thwart the Mygodes?
Maybe.
And also, whenever I think of the Mygodes, I'm also going back to the Myconids as well. Maybe work those in. The other fungus on the other end of the evil spectrum. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're...
So let's give us a review. Usually we give swords, but that's for regular TSR modules. So let's go with shields for OSR stuff.
All right.
So I give this one a 4.5 out of 5 shields. And the reason why it doesn't get a full 5 is because it doesn't have page numbers. I hate that. I like page numbers so I know how to keep track of stuff on the module when I'm writing notes.
Page numbers, table of contents.
I don't care about table of contents so much. I like page numbers. That's really... So I could just say in my DM notes when I'm writing a paper like page 5, monster here,
Right.
That's my only complaint.
I'll give this 4.5 out of 5 shields as well.
Okay.
One for the one thing that you told me that no page numbers, but also like on the incubation room, it was kind of vague. It was like you have to figure out yourself what it's actually for, even as the dungeon master.
Yeah, and you could say that you take the bodies there and they incubate, but that you have to make that stuff up. So.
And the potential of making the player characters immortal. Where you could grow your own multiples of your own body. I'm like, that could be, that could break a campaign. I don't know. but overall, it's great presentation, fantastic ideas, new ideas in here. And taking a story of Lovecraft and modifying it in a way that it could be used in a D&D game. I really enjoyed reading through this, and it's definitely going to be incorporated in my new campaign. So
cool.
Yeah, there you have it.
Matt, your cat want to give a review? Because I just saw him go across the screen again. And,
Yes, this is Boo, and she apparently just wants to walk all over me right now and explore the room. As for reviews, what is that, Boo? What do you think of it? Okay, Boo says it's a 4.
4, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 from my personal preference. I can just see chaos ensuing once my party gets a hold of all the technological stuff. Not to mention they would also probably start, let's use all these bionics. I mean, I could see it just derailing a campaign if you have the wrong type of players who want to take everything they see. Unless you're prepared to run a Gamma World more sci-fi-ish campaign. This actually would be a great way to use it. Like if you wanted to transition an existing fantasy game into something more like that, you could use this as the transition to add that. If you want to go down a different path. And again, also, page numbers. Please give me page numbers. And I'm also like a table of contents index guy. Modules, not so much. You don't need an index.
No.
But give me a table of contents. Because, yeah, I like flipping to page numbers. And so a lot of times I'll even print these out, especially this. I mean, you're looking at like 16, 17 pages. So at that point, I'll just print it out and use it as opposed to even dealing with a tablet because I like hard copies.
I think it's like 20 pages. Yeah.
The ideas are good though. The map is great. The map actually was reminding me of Starship Troopers Hives, the way it's laid out.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I like it. There's definitely ideas to use it. If I were to run it, I mean, I would probably try to have more fantasy explanations for the tech as opposed to going more on the sci-fi realm. But then again, that's just personal preference.
Well, yeah, that was actually one of the points I was going to make. Is as far as a detractor for somebody, if this might not be an adventure for you, if you don't want any science fiction elements in your fantasy campaign, if you don't want your chocolate mixed in with your peanut butter.
Yeah.
Okay, then. But I kind of like that because just lately I've been on the whole gonzo, go nutso, my standard, I've been saying dwarves with shotguns and lasers sorts of thing. So, but for somebody who wants to, I guess, more of a purist, I suppose, then, yeah, this might not be the adventure for you. So.
But if you ever wanted to run a game with sharks with laser beams on their head, this would be the adventure.
Frickin' lasers on their frickin' heads.
Yes.
So it looks like the module winds up with a 4 1/4, a little over 4 1/4 rating of shields. So it's a highly recommended pickup and take a listen to. Yes, cheesy Google sound effects.
Yay!
Yeah, we're all queued up next time Nick tells a joke.
Hey.
So pick up the module, Matt. I think I gave you the link of the module in the notes. Throw that into our show notes so the folks can go look it up. Definitely take a look at it. If you have a module you want us to review, just drop it a link in our email. Or if someone has a module they want us to try to buy and download and review, just throw us the link, rfistaff@gmail.com. And we'll be back in 2 weeks from the show. So keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Initiative Podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.